Welcome, everybody. Welcome to the Burger Routine Workshop. We have people from all over the world here in this space together right now. I think it's so incredible the commitment that you have shown to showing up for yourself today. Some of you on the live at 2 a.m. and 5 a.m., absolutely incredible. And also a very warm welcome to those who are here watching on the replay. It's very, very cool to have you here. Now, what on earth do burgers have to do with the nervous system? We will find that out very soon, but I tell you what, it has been a lot of fun for me kind of planning a nervous system routine that looks like a burger. Before we get started, before we move into today's workshop, I'd love for you to share in the chat if you're here on the live, and if you're not, jot this down on a piece of paper and a notebook. I'd love you to share what is one small signal that you have noticed today from your nervous system. Just an opportunity to just reflect and tune in and share with me what it is you've noticed. And it might be that that's something to do with the breath. It might be that you've noticed tension. It might be that you've noticed butterflies. It might be that you've noticed ease or spaciousness. But if you take a minute to switch in, what is a signal, however small, that your nervous system has sent to you today? Okay, so I'm just having a wee look and sharing some of the stuff here. We've got tight muscles, warmth in my chest, strong smells on a walk, a twitching eye, upset tummy, chest, heartbeat, feeling in freeze, shaky hands. Okay, some tears, frustration, palpitations, heart rate, irritability, jaw clenching, jittery, racing thoughts, nausea, feeling reactive, tired, breath holding, posture. Wow, lots and lots of really good insights here and tuning into the body. Cravings, feeling calm, some gagging, increased heart rate, light breathing. Okay, well done, everybody. This is amazing insights that you are having. Someone says, gosh, this list sounds like me. Maybe you're saying it's D, all of the above, and that's okay too. So well done. Amazing to reflect on some of those messages from our nervous system. And then we can go that step further and begin to ask ourselves, what is the clue and what is the cue here that my nervous system is giving me with this sensation? What is the need behind this sensation? I'm going to ask you one more question. What has been in the past week your nervous system's favorite spot? What is a place or a moment that's been your past week where your nervous system felt safe? So let's have a think about a spot. So on my yoga mat, beautiful, petting the puppy, the beach, yoga, family, Netflix, meditation in bed, just being in the house, on the couch, in nature, journaling, laying in the sun, beautiful, swimming, the nighttime somatic process. So that's Paige, who's been doing one out of the membership, beautiful. A heating pad, reading a book, gorgeous. So we're really taking a moment here to reflect and to honor our nervous system's ability as well to feel safe and present and grounded, and that we have these little spaces in our day, shower, yoga, lymphatic routines in the garden, where we're really able to give ourselves that and to meet those needs of the nervous system to feel safe. So well done. And thank you so much for sharing this with me, everybody. So I am going to now just begin to share some slides. So I'm going to pop these up here and just let me know if you can't see them in the chat. You should just see slides and a little floating head that is me. Okay, so welcome again to the burger routine. Thank you for sharing where you're at and some beautiful, safe, glimmery moments in your week. I thought we'll start with a little introduction because many of you here won't know me very well or you won't be members. So I am a counselor and I'm a nervous system regulation and I'm a somatic coach. And I've been in this field now for 15 years. I'm also an 8 times best-selling author, which feels like a crazy and amazing thing to say because it all happened by accident. But aside from the qualifications, I'm just a mama. I am very much an HSP. I don't know if we've got any other HSPs in the house. Give me a little wave or a little yes in the chat. So highly sensitive people. We've got a couple here. Hello, my friends. We seem to always have more of us in these calls and in the membership than normal sort of society has. And it goes to show how much we kind of feel deeply and kind of need that regulation piece as well. I'm also an anxiety butt kicker, I decided to call myself. So I'm somebody who had a lifetime of anxiety and began having panic attacks in my 20s. And that's something that I'm really proud to say that I have overcome. And it was a real journey because it was a real result of there being quite a history of trauma and then going through trauma in my older years as well. And so I call myself a trauma healer too, not just for myself, but in the work that I get to do with thousands of people. And I'm very much a people pleaser in recovery. I call myself. Have we got any of those people as well who are kind of in those really working on the recovery phase or trying to really get into this people pleasing stuff? Yes, I am with friends. Little fawn here. Oh, beautiful. It's kind of a really sweet way of looking at it. Yeah. So many of us here, we have this history, this shared history of these different struggles in our life. And this was mine. It was postnatal depression, it was trauma, it was panic, it was anxiety, it was all of these things. And it got to this point in my life where I was a counselor, was going through all of these things and thinking, God, I'm a fraud. I've got these kind of tools here but something isn't shifting and I feel really stuck in this and stuff is bubbling up for me. And that's really where I move deeply into the somatic work, the nervous system work, and also parts work to really get into how do we process trauma? How do we heal these parts of ourselves at a deeper level? Because if anyone here can relate, when we try to just switch our mindset alone, it can be really, really helpful but we still feel stuck. But these things keep happening in our nervous systems, and we're in these patterns. And this is really why I created this space and this membership because for me, bringing together these modalities that I had spent 15 years training and working in was the missing pieces of the puzzle for me, was the healing. And now I get to work with thousands of people from all over the world to really discover this for themselves. So I'm very excited if this is the first time you've kind of maybe met me or been in a workshop to get to share some of this with you. So this burger routine today is really all about how our nervous system routine needs to be as customizable as when we make ourselves a burger to really adapt to our needs and to meet our cravings. And I can't wait to share some of this with you. Now, as you know, there's a $500 annual membership being given away today to someone here on the live. I can't wait to do that. There is just over 200 of you here on the live. So a good chance, better than the lottery, of winning that. But also to say to you that we really have some very special offers opening this week. So there's $10 or $50 off our plans to come and join the membership. The first 10 people joining right after this, I'm going to build you a custom burger. So you and I are going to have a little chat. You're going to tell me what it is you need, and I'm going to match tools for you and build that out. And then the first 10 people who join the annual plan, you and I are going to do the same thing, but we're actually going to Voxer, which is voice notes back and forward to build it so it's super customed, and we're gonna go back and forth together with some extra tips and deep dives. Everybody who joins will get a $50 goodie bag, some incredible guides, calm cards, and then we're going to open the 7 days of bonus support for all of our members. Two incredible coaching calls. One of them is designed specifically, we're going to work with parts. So we're going to get into the core and we're going to talk to those self-sabotaging and resistant parts to work with them. Because what I find is when we do this kind of thing, like these workshops, and we get this routine in our mind and we get so excited and we might stick to it for a few days and then something happens and we stop. And usually that something is a resistant part of us that has been coming up time and time again and sabotaging in some way. And we hate that part, but actually it's protecting us, and we're going to get to the core of that. Also, if you sign up for annual, you'll be in to win a one-on-one coaching day with me, and also an aura ring, which is those incredible rings that track your HRV and your nervous system data. And I don't even have one, so someone here is going to be getting one, which is very exciting. So today we're going to go into the nervous system, really breaking down our nervous system states and the nuance of mixed states. This is crucial to understand if we're going to match our tools correctly to our state. Then we're going to get into the burger. We're talking the buns, the fillings, building burgers, and then moving on to the secret sauce. So these are like these really key takeaways that you need in order to make this burger work for you. So that's what we're going to do first, is really understand these stress states. So I'm going to stop slide sharing and we're going to get a little sciencey together. I've got some beakers and some colors to explore these different nervous system states. And I really want you to go ahead during it, pop questions into the chat if you're here on the live and you're confused. And at the end of that, I will have a look at as many as I can and answer them before we move into building these burgers that beautifully match our tools. Okie dokie. So let's just move this back a little here. Ooh, okay, beautiful. Right, so what we are exploring here is our autonomic nervous system. Okay, so this is the part of our nervous system that controls all of these automatic responses in our body. So it's like your heartbeat and your breathing and your digestion and all of these things. And it includes our threat responses. So fight, flight, freeze, and fawn. So you're probably really familiar with those already, and these are safety mechanisms. So I really want everybody to feel really clear that these are protective. But the things that switch these responses on these days are really plenty. So we live at really overstimulated, stressful lives. So things like, seeing an inbox full of emails, or your boss calling you into the office, or having to speak out in a meeting. Even just becoming aware of physical sensations or symptoms in your body can spiral us into health concerns. We've got kids yelling mum at us. The extractor fan is going. If you're an HSP, you know what I mean by that. There is the task switching, the constant task switching that drains our cognitive load. And there's sensory overload, right? So all of these things, these kind of modern day stresses, turn on these threat responses for survival in our nervous system. All of these things, especially when they are kind of in a cumulative load upon us, can send us into these stress states. Now, that in itself isn't necessarily a bad thing. So moving into a stress state isn't necessarily a bad thing, but we can get stuck there. So many of you may be here thinking, yeah, and I'm stuck there. I am in a dominant state of feeling in a stress state. So what happens is that we end up adapting and adopting these habits and behaviors that are really unhealthy to try to cope with the dysregulation. So if you're here on the live, go ahead and put in the chat something that you have noticed that you're doing as a way of trying to cope with dysregulation that you are ready to kind of move away from. So mine is often that I will doom scroll and someone just wrote doom scroll, three people just wrote doom scrolling all at once. Smoking cigarettes, yeah, bed rotting, stress eating. So eating is a really common one where we're actually eating not because of hunger, but because of the dopamine hit that it gives us. I'm wondering if anyone, so reassure, there we go, I was waiting for that. So picking, is anyone a bit of a nail picker and a skin picker? Those types of things. Lying around, procrastinating, plus, 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 and lots of people are resonating with that one. So not only are these things indications that we are trying desperately to cope with these stress states, but they can let us know that our interoception is a little faulty or that we've got a part of us that's taken the driver's seat. So we are going to now, I'm loving these shares, people. This is powerful self-awareness. We are going to go through the main stress states, the nuance of the mixed states, and then we're going to get to burger matching these things. And we're going to start with this one. So this is talking the autonomic nervous system, right? And it's got these two branches, sympathetic and parasympathetic. Right, so that's what we're keeping in mind. Now we're looking at the sympathetic branch of the autonomic nervous system. Oops, spilled. Okay. Right, and we're going to represent that here with this red color. So the sympathetic branch is your fight or flight. Okay, so what we're going to talk about for each of these stress states is the clues that our nervous system give us to let us know that we're in this state. Now, many of you are going to go, I know what it feels like when I'm in this state. So do let me know if there's a symptom that we, haven't discussed, and you can list it in the chat and just share that. Emotionally, your cues for being in sympathetic is obvious. It's anger, it's rage, irritability, anxiety, and panic, right? Catastrophizing, yes. So, and the behaviors that we're going to notice here are things like avoidance, are things like snapping at our kids and being really short-tempered. It's things like rushing. I want to give you a chance to just nominate yourself if you are a massive morning rusher or you find that you just walk around and do everything at hyper speed. So it's all of these things. These are the behaviors that we get into when we're in sympathetic, right? It's also, we can see the clues to the state are in our thoughts. So it's the speed of our thoughts. So when your thoughts are racing, when it's really difficult to focus on one thing at a time, that's a really good indication of a sympathetic state. We're also going to be a little bit more irrational in this place. So someone said before, catastrophizing. That's a really big one. We're going to notice we are more in our limbic system, the emotional center of the brain. So we're more reactive, we're more emotional, and we're less able to access our prefrontal cortex, which is the logic, ration, decision-making state. So it is going to be hard to make decisions and to feel logical in a sympathetic state. We are going to have clues in our language as well. Yes, I plan a new life by myself. Escape thoughts, very common. Language sounds like I have to, I must, what if, I can't stop until. So any of these types of thoughts, you're going to have an instant light bulb clue. This is sympathetic. Decision making, all right? We're going to be impulsive decisions. We're going to be hypervigilant. We're going to be possibly second guessing every single choice we make. Our inner narratives are catastrophizing, and we are ruminating in this place on mistakes or on perceived threats or on upcoming challenges. Mental imagery is another clue for sympathetic. It's often vivid, often negative, and we do these things where we either play out scenarios of danger, or we're in the shower and we're going over that argument. This is what I would have said and should have said. Does anyone do that? Is that just me? So there's a bit of that. So we're going to have this kind of mental imagery playing out. And then perception of time is another one as well. We're going to feel we don't have enough time. We're going to be in a constant rush. the mind's going to feel on edge all the time. Our physical symptoms is going to be sleep's going to be impacted. Your gut health, you're going to notice potentially like nausea and butterflies and chest tightness. Sometimes we notice shakiness, sometimes we notice numbness in the hands and feet, which can shake. If any of this is like, what on earth do we have this for? Please ask me a question in the chat as to the science behind it if you're really wanting clarification on anything. I'll try to keep an eye on it. So we're going to notice all these physical somatic sensations in the nervous system too that are really a key. But here's something I want to really do right now is I want to reframe our sympathetic state away from fight flight. And we're going to call it instead activation and mobilization. Because not all stress is bad. And many of us feel when we're in this state, we're anxious, we're angry, we hate it, we resist it. If we turn toward what the nervous system is actually communicating here, it's communicating a need for activation and mobilization, either movement toward or movement away from something that feels threatening to us. When we're in anxiety, we're going to be movement away from. Is anyone here an avoider? This is where I got myself into when I was in the panic. It was the avoidance. It was anything that I knew could set off the fear. I was out. I was avoiding. And that included the people pleasing part too, avoiding conflict, all of it. I'm seeing massive hands here, hiding away, just wanting to be in our safe place, in our bed. So that's the movement away from energy, right? There's also movement towards. This is when we are snapping and we're irritable and we're angry, and that's that more fight response. So this is there to serve us. This is there to say, hey, something in our environment is absolutely threatening our capacity to cope. So we need to either move away or move towards this thing and to deal with it. Okay. So if there's any questions, we can always cycle back to any of this, but just in the interests of me not being here for 6 hours doing a TED talk, we're going to move on to the parasympathetic branch of the nervous system. So that's been our sympathetic branch. Now parasympathetic itself actually splits into these two branches. So most of us, when we hear parasympathetic, we just immediately go to, oh, yep, that's like our calm place. But did you know that there's two branches to that? And one of them is actually our dorsal vagal branch. So that's what we're going to have a wee look at here with this blue color. So dorsal vagal is the freeze or shut down branch of the parasympathetic nervous system. Now, this is our oldest and most primitive threat response, and it's really your nervous system's last resort. So let's talk about the clues that your nervous system gives you that we are here. So emotionally, this is going to feel like numbness or shame or depression, that really low mood, or lethargy, and also things like dissociation. So in a freeze state, the mind slows down and it fogs up, or it disconnects entirely from what we're trying to get done in our life, from our tasks, from our emotions. So your cognitive clues are the speed of your thoughts. So in this state, this is going to be, Francesca says, dorsal, my old friend. Many of us are familiar with this one. The speed of thoughts is going to be quite slow and quite foggy or frozen, like it's kind of hit a wall. The language clues are, I don't care. I can't. Why bother? It's too much. I'll just stay here, right? So it's this really shutting down. Decision making is going to feel really paralyzed. So there's going to be a lot of procrastination and avoidance of decisions altogether in this place. So if you're someone who is a big procrastinator or really avoids these big calls in your life, and you're just like, it's too much, I can't, this is a sign that our capacity has been overloaded and we're more in a dorsal state. So often here as well, there's a lot of self-blame. right? I can't do anything right. There's a lot of hopelessness. Nothing will ever change. It's too hard. Or emotional numbness. I feel nothing. The mental imagery is more blank. It's more of a void, or it's more of just these like repetitive loops with no resolution. So that perception of time often means we feel stuck, time's slowed down, we feel really detached, disinterested. Okay, so there's this. Okay, we're going to move into, we'll come back to some more nuance around this one soon as well. We're going to move to that other branch in our parasympathetic nervous system here, represented by this yellow. And that is our ventral vagal state. Now, you've probably heard of the vagus nerve, and this is kind of what people are talking about when we talk about the vagal or ventral vagal state. It's like this brake that slows everything down. So this is the social engagement branch of your nervous system, right? So in this place, we are feeling connected and compassionate and capable and present and regulated and calm. So that vagus nerve that I mentioned is your 10th cranial nerve, and it connects from the base of your brain. It innervates your ear and face and down your neck, and it branches out to connect to pretty much every organ here. So it gets a hold on your heart and your diaphragm and your lungs and your digestive organs and all of this. And it is a two-way communication highway that acts as a brake to calm down our stress responses to bring us back to this place right here. So now what we're going to look at is the nuance of these mixed states, because it's not as cut and dry as saying I'm just in one of these places. Our nervous system isn't like a switch. So let's begin by looking at, what are we going to look at? We'll look at red and blue together. So we've got some dorsal vagal and also some of that sympathetic. I don't know if you can see, but that's kind of a purple color now. Right. So when we have this mix of stress state of fight flight and of dorsal vagal, this is what we call, and someone just alluded to it in the chat, a functional freeze. So this is where our nervous system's kind of riding this edge between the body saying activation and mobilization and also trying to shut you down at the same time. And so for some people, what a functional freeze state will look like is being kind of go, go, go at work, and we're busy and our mind's on and we're stressed, and then we get home and we just collapse and doom scroll and don't do any of the things that we said we were going to do for ourselves, and we just feel completely shut down. So some of us look like that. Some of us look like we're still in the go, 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 but there's this feeling of, I just can't do this. I can't keep going. Or we're saying, I have to do all of these things, but I cannot get myself off this couch. So the mind is stressed and anxious and saying, I have to, but the body is saying, I can't, it's too much. A lot of people are saying, yes, 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 this is me. Now, I want to just point out one pattern really, really quickly. And if this is you, this is an indication of kind of a stuck trauma and a lack of safety. You wake up in the morning and you, oh my God, I don't want to get out of bed. You snooze your alarm. I do not want to face the day. You snooze, snooze, snooze to the point where you're running late and now you're stressed. Now you're up and you're moving really, really quickly throughout your day. Go, 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 get everything ready, get in the car. On the way to work in the car, I space out. I can't remember if I've even given way at that roundabout. Oh, now I'm at work and I'm on. I'm maybe people pleasing. I'm stressing. I'm getting it all done. Or I'm smiling and I'm doing the thing. On the way home, I can't get out of my car. I have a shower and I can't get out of my towel and I just space out, and then I'm doom scroll, and now it's too late and I have to hurry up and get dinner ready. Now I'm snapping at the kids, getting the kids to bed. It's all very stressful. Back I am doom scrolling. Okay, so is that anyone's reality? This is a state of fluctuating between the two. It's a real indication of functional freeze. People said it looks like I've been watching them. I'm in your house. I am. That is functional freeze. That lets us know that we've actually got unresolved nervous system dysregulation and or trauma that is stuck in the body. We don't feel safe at a core level. And so we're actually using stress to get us going. Hence why we procrastinate till the last minute and then we go. So we're on at certain points of our life, we're using the cortisol that comes from a sympathetic state, that rush of adrenaline that gets produced to get us out of a shutdown state. Okay, so you are normal. This is normal. You are not beyond help. You are not broken. I'm hearing that you're feeling really seen and this is landing. You are absolutely fine. We can get you out of this, but we just need to create safety. And we actually need to address this. So if anyone here is in functional freeze and you've been doing stress management stuff and trying to just push through and thinking, what is wrong with me? Then it's because you're not addressing this one. That's the one we address in that state. All right, we're going to move on to a little combination of, what am I doing? Yellow. So this is ventral vagal and blue. What happens when we combine shutdown, right, with a feeling of safety? We get green, we get intimacy, right? We get true rest and relaxation. So this is your body shutting down and surrendering, but feeling safe. But we feel safe. So we get this ability to rest and be still and not feel guilty about it. I don't know if anyone here like tries to rest and either doesn't actually rest because we're just doom scrolling, or just rests and then feels really guilty, right? That's actually dorsal or functional freeze. That's not real rest. This is what happens when we have real rest, is surrender and safety. And this is also how we open ourselves to intimacy with our partners, because there's an element of trust and surrender of the body, but we feel safe, right? And then we get this beautiful intimacy, emotional intimacy in our relationships. Alrighty, so let's now do another little mixed nervous system state. What have we not covered? This. So we have sympathetic mixed with ventral vagal, okay, and we get this kind of orange state. So we've got the activation and mobilization with safety, and this is play and competition. So this is where we are energized and we're flowing. This is the state that I'm in actually at the moment, is that we feel kind of this real energized feeling, or we're in this creative flow state, creative excitement, and we're going but we're feeling safe. We're feeling grounded in it. So when you play sports, we're in this, unless you get a little too carried away and we get a little too much of that in the mixture. That's the general state of play. Right, so our last one to look at here is everybody's favorite, mixed state. Okay, so what happens when we mix sympathetic, so activation, mobilization, fight, flight, with dorsal vagal, shut down, collapse. This is, the threat is far too large, and I need to numb, to dissociate, and to shut down in some way in order to cope with that threat. And then we mix a little bit of ventral vagal, social connection, and we get this brown color. This is a fawn response. This is please and appease, right? So this is what happens, and a lot of us as adults can say we've called ourselves people pleasers. Now, people pleasing is one thing, but when it's fawn, it's actually a nervous system response. And I want you to really hear that, because I think often we feel like this sense of kind of shame around our people pleasing or our fawning. We're like, why didn't I speak up for myself? Why didn't I leave? Why didn't I do something? And the reason is because when our nervous system gets involved and takes over, We are actually doing this at an unconscious level. Remember that your emotional brain takes over more, your thinking brain shuts down more, and your nervous system is only interested in your survival and your safety. So the clues that we would experience to this state would be the speed of your thoughts, probably going to be rapid, definitely going to be very externally focused. So we're really analyzing what others might be thinking or wanting or needing, and having great difficulty focusing on our own personal desires and priorities. The language there's your language cues. Your thoughts sound like, what do they need from me? If I say no, they'll be upset. I have to keep the peace. How can I make sure that they're okay? I'm just going to go along with it. It's easier. If they're happy, then I'm safe. So we are going to be prioritizing other people's preferences, other people's comfort over our own values and boundaries. So we have these inner beliefs as well, these core beliefs and narratives here of it's my job to fix this. I'm only valuable if I help. If I don't do this, they'll leave or they'll judge me. I'll be a burden if I ask for what I want. And there's shame and there's guilt, right? So this people pleasing, this fawn response is often a trauma response as well in childhood, when it is that you had to always be on the lookout for everyone else's kind of emotions, reading your parents, perhaps if they were either struggling with their own mental health, if they were abusive in some way, if they were dealing with addictions, right? All of these things, if you had to be the one that kind of pivoted and adjusted your behavior so that you could maintain this attachment with them, so that you could be safe. I want you to truly hear that this was not a choice. This was something you had to do. It was imperative to your survival that you went into one of these states, right? But then what happens is our nervous system acts like a kind of predictive machine. And rather than every time we meet a situation in our lives, it stopping and pausing and really analyzing and assessing it, it's going to say, no, I've been through so much stress in my life. I've had to shut down so much in my life. I have had to please and appease. It's just going to revert straight to that automatically. And so, as an adult, I really want you to hear this just so that you can de-shame the times that you've been going into these responses. This wasn't a choice, this wasn't a weakness. This was your nervous system taking over and reflexively choosing these things for you in order to keep you safe. And this is why we do this work, to start to unpick these patterns, right? And to really widen our window of tolerance and time to heal this stuff. The fastest way to remember this is to think of your nervous system like a car. Okay, so the accelerator is your stress, so activation, mobilization. When you get stressed, your body is slamming down the accelerator. If it gets too stressed, it rips up the handbrake, right? Emergency stop, rip up the handbrake, or sometimes maybe you guys call it like a parking brake overseas, I'm not sure. So we're going to rip that on. And that's when it feels like these responses are not going to cut it. They're not going to work. It's all too much. We're going to go here. So for many of us, we're actually living with our handbrake on because we lived for too long with the accelerator down. We ran out of gas. Right, so when you have been under a lot of stress or trauma, you will get to that point where your nervous system conserves energy because it's all been too much by taking you into dorsal. And then our ventral vagal state is just the foot brake. So we're literally pressing the brake down to calmly kind of bring ourselves back down. And that vagus nerve that I mentioned, the brake, literally slows down your heart rate, but it can actually lose tone. So this means it basically just loses its efficacy in being able to regulate you and bring you back down. So if you're someone who has really lived a lot of your life in a stress dominant state, Can be that this vagus nerve loses tone, and that's what we get to work on, which is so exciting. Just like a muscle in the gym, we can improve the tone and we can bring ourselves back. Now, before we build our burgers, the key here is to meet and match and complete these responses, right? So when we are in a stress state, this one's going to require something different than this one and this one, right? We can't meet them all with the same tools. And I think many of us do that. We just kind of, what's that expression? Like throw spaghetti at the wall and hope it sticks. Is that an expression? That's how I check if spaghetti's cooked. I don't know if that's an expression. Anyway, so that's what we often do, right? Is we throw stuff at it and hope that it's going to work. But if we are not actually meeting the tool correctly, then it's not going to. So some of these states need up-regulation, right? The dorsal vagal needs up-regulating. It needs safety. It needs this done gently. And some of them need down-regulation, like this, right? But they also need to be completed. So when we have a lifetime of thwarting our natural threat responses and not completing them, that energy gets stuck in the muscles, in the fascia, in your body. So if you've always been someone who did go into anxiety, did go into this, your body's clearly saying, this is what I need, but then we don't complete it. Right? We don't actually move with that energy, it gets stuck. So part of it is about completing it too. And a fawn response is something that needs mobilization and boundaries and honoring of needs and activation of vocal cords and body connection. We need to meet our impulses and our intuition. Your body knows what it wants to do to find homeostasis, but many of us have spent years shutting down our impulses and our intuition. So what we are going to do today is look at some clear somatic tools along the way that we can use to help regulate these responses. But at the end of the day, I also really want you to know that a lot of what we see in this kind of nervous system regulation somatic world right now just tells us to throw a tool at something. Somatic work is not that simple. It's not just like, yep, that'll fix it. It's actually about tuning into what the body is remembering and what it needs to do. Okay, and that's kind of what we do in the membership, right? So we're going to move here into the tools. What I want to do now, just before I start some slides again, is do a little practice on getting you into ventral vagal, the connection portion of your nervous system. So if you're open to it, you don't have to do this, but turn on your video, right? Turn on your video. You don't have to if that doesn't feel safe for you. So it's okay to still participate, but have your screen blank. So if you can, flick your videos on, and then you're going to head up to the top button at the top right of your screen. It says View, and go Gallery View. Right? So now I'm seeing all these faces. Beautiful. Hello, everybody. So cool to see you all. And what I want you to do is look at that gallery view on your screen, and you're just going to pick someone at random. Now, they're not going to know you've picked them, okay? And you are not going to know if you've been picked. So there's no worries. It's okay. All right, so you're going to pick someone, and you'll see that there's some little, on your phone, I think you may be able to swipe through actually to see different views, kind of swipe to the side. For those of us here, we're going to pick someone. I want you to click the three little dots. When you hover over their picture, there'll be three little dots, and you're going to click pin. So we're going to really gently, non-violently, pin someone to our screen. All right, so pick a face and pin it. Okay, they're not going to know if you're looking at them, and you're not going to know if you're being seen. Hopefully you've got someone, and if you can't get the gallery view, just use me for this. That's fine. You're looking at someone right now. I want you to start to look into their eyes. Okay, I'm going to spend 30 seconds or so here just making eye contact with this soul that is somewhere else in the world. Maybe they're in Egypt or New Zealand or Poland or America, and you are sitting here together in this shared space with a lifetime of stories, differences, and similarities, and two nervous systems that are now gazing at one another. I want you to start to come into your body and begin to witness what your body is doing in this moment, what your nervous system is doing in this moment of connection. And there's no right or wrong here. Okay, so you may tune into your body and you might notice there's a subtle kind of easing of the muscles, easing of the breath. Maybe you can even start to deepen your breath with this person, letting go of any gripping through the belly and just welcoming in those nourishing, life-giving breaths that you're breathing with this person. You may also notice this feels uncomfortable. You may feel a little nervous here. Maybe it's a little tricky to keep eye contact. That's fine too. It's all of it is just kind of little cues from our nervous system letting us know how it feels to be in connection with this person right now. Begin to deepen your breath and simply notice how your nervous system is responding. As you feel ready, you can unpin your lovely person and come back to the main view, to my mug. Come back. If you'd like to share in the chat what that felt like for you, go ahead. And there is no right or wrong. And as you do that, I'm just going to really scroll up a little just to see if there's any questions I've missed that are really obvious. But there's so many comments that I may just be missing things. You guys are having such amazing conversations in here. All right, I'm just going to actually carry on, but if there's, I'll leave some Q&A time at the end as well. Okay, so I'm just leaving a read of what your experience was of doing that. All right, pins and needles across my body, yawning, calming. Right, teary and nervous, but I felt a connection. It was lovely, emotional, hard to keep eye contact. It was touching. I picked someone who was smiling. And then they stopped and they were frowning, and it was amazing, and it changed how I felt internally. That's so powerful. They're probably frowning because they couldn't figure out how to pin someone. Hard, but restful, uncomfortable. Yeah, calming and safe. Beautiful. Okay. Thank you. And Joanna's just sharing some messages with me directly. She's helping me out a little here. There was a question earlier that said, does having ADHD mean I need to look at how I make my burger differently? Right, so the burgers are going to be so super versatile that you'll be able to pick practices that work with your ADHD. But the other thing to really know about that is that there is lots of shared traits with dysregulation and ADHD. So when we do these regulation practices, they really can be quite helpful. And someone asked, what if you aren't a people pleaser, but you just isolate yourself? So that could be that it's more to do with movement away from, so anxiety, or it could be more to do with a dorsal vagal response where we're actually feeling quite low in our mood and we're feeling more shut down and we isolate. So it could be either of those things or a mixture. Okay. Someone's noticed that dorsal kicks in at medical appointments and they faint. So that is, fainting is the truest expression really of a dorsal vagal shutdown response, is that we actually faint when we go fully into that place. Okay, so yep, someone's asked, can we experience sympathetic and dorsal at the same time? So yes, absolutely. There's your functional freeze that we found. Okay, now I'm going to carry on now just so that we don't get caught up for too much here. But well done for kind of experiencing that practice and being brave enough to do that. Right, so I'm going to share some slides again now. And we are going to get into some more goodies. I noticed someone said, "Oh my gosh, it's been an hour. Feels like I've been here for 10 minutes." So we probably have another between half an hour, 45 minutes, then I'll leave time for questions. So if anyone needs to go, that is fine. There will be a recording. What we're going to have a little look at now is actually these two systems at play called interoception and neuroception. And these play a really big role in our ability to sense for safety or to feel a sense of okayness in the world and in your body. So they're really, really impacted, these two things, by chronic stress and by trauma. So, interoception is your ability to sense the internal sensations of your body. This is a conversation between your body and your brain about how safe you are and about what you need. Okay, so this is really crucial to being able to interpret cues of safety or threat in the body. I find this text funny. It probably not, but this is kind of like what happens when we have faulty interoception, right? It's like our predictive text goes haywire and the messages between our brain and our body just aren't going across properly. Now, faulty interoception can kind of fall into these two categories. One is heightened interoception, the other is muted interoception. Yes, you can have both before you ask. Go ahead and if you're resonating with any of these, pop it in the chat. Heightened interoception is where you have a heightened awareness of your body's sensations. So you're probably going to be quite hypervigilant. You're going to notice if you have heart palpitations. You're going to notice your breath. You're going to notice pain. You're going to notice feelings in your body. Probably quite sensitive to sensory input. A lot of HSPs have this. So you're going to really be feeling those sounds, feeling stuff in your body. The clothing tag is like, oh, I can't stand it, right? All of these things. Sometimes you experience air hunger. So when you try to do like meditation or a breath practice, you suddenly become aware that you don't feel you can get enough breath. Emotional, you're really emotional around physical cues. That's our heightened. Muted belongs more to that dorsal vagal response. So heightened is more sympathetic. Muted is like, I've forgotten to eat today. When did I last have a drink? Oh my God, I've been needing to pee for like an hour. You might stay up really late when you're really tired and you're just not kind of picking up on that body's cue to need to sleep. Sometimes you cannot feel your emotions, right? You space out. So there is in the goodie pack for people who go on to join the membership, there is an assessment for your interoception, and there's a healing guide, and there is a class in the membership to heal interoception, to begin to do that work, right? So if you're going, yep, this is me, then that is what I recommend that you do. So just answering Dominique, absolutely possible to have both, to swing between both. That is certainly what I did. Absolutely. So many people in that heightened will be familiar with like that real health anxiety. You will feed off your body's signals and misread them as well in this place. So this is really common with anxiety. Like you'll feel like that kind of funny feeling in your stomach that's actually due to hunger or low blood sugar. You're going to misread it as anxiety. It's going to happen in an instant and you're going to end up in a sympathetic spiral. That's as crazy as this is, how it impacts us, right? It's just operating at all times. Okay, so neuroception, we're going to look at. Lisa said, I was sold 10 minutes into the meeting. I love it. Okay, neuroception is your automatic subconscious process by which your nervous system detects safety and threat in your external environment. Okay, so this is what helps us determine if we feel safe, if we can be social, or if we need to activate our fawn response or our sympathetic response and get out of there. We're actually going to do an interesting little experiment now together where I'm going to move to the next slide and you're going to see an illustration come up on your screen. And I'm going to give you about 20 seconds to look at the picture. Now, without cognitively getting too caught up in your thinking brain, I want you just to see what you are drawn to, what you notice in this illustration, and choose three things that stand out to you the most. Go ahead and put them in the chat if you want to share them as well, and then we're going to have a little look at it. Right, so you're going to see this picture. What three things stand out to you the most? Now the 10 seconds or so here. Feel free to carry on looking. I'm just going to have a quick chat as we go about this. So what will be really interesting, I'll just try to shrink myself a bit more. I'm taking up half the photo. Is just reflect on what is it that I orient towards, right? What does my nervous system pick up on in this picture? And it can be really interesting. And this is not a diagnosis, but sometimes we find, wow, I orient toward the people, right? I see the people. I might be like, whoa, there's too many people. I don't like this. Or it might be, I orient towards people looking relaxed. Maybe you orient to, I wonder if that couple in the back on the bench, she doesn't look like she's liking that. Doesn't look like she's liking that. The people beside her, are they arguing? Right? Look at this guy leaning over the banister. He looks really sad. Is that what we're saying? You know, he could just be gone for a run and he's tired. So just kind of looking at what have I oriented toward? When I do this picture, I orient to the first thing was the dog. So in my history, I have trauma around some dog attacks. I oriented to the dog thinking it looked like it was wearing a muzzle. And so in my reality, my nervous system is going to fixate on that and then on these people arguing if I am in a place of orienting to danger. So it's just really interesting to see what is it that I pick up on. Some of us are going to orient to glimmers and orient to things that look safe, right? So there's no right or wrong. This is just a kind of indication for you to see how neuroception is working, right? We're always taking in data and sensory stimulus, and we're making unconscious predictions from our history, from our traumas, from our nervous systems about what that means. Now, between the stimulus and the response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose our response. In our response lies our growth and our freedom. Let's do a quick nervous system check-in and then build some burgers. So check in with your body right now and just ask it, how's it doing? What does it need? Does it need anything? Okay, I just want you to see if your nervous system needs anything and then meet that need. Do you need to have a shake? Do you need, we've been going for an hour, you know, do you need to have a stretch? Do you need to yawn? Do you need to sway? Do you need to grab yourself a drink of water? What's your interoception saying? Do you need to pee? Okay. All right. And if you don't know, if you're like, oh, I don't know what I need, it could be because it's really unfamiliar to you to ask that question, to get embodied, to interocept what's happening. And it's okay if that's you. We can retrain this. Don't you worry. Right. We are going to build some burgers. Okay, so the aim, right, of this burger routine to come is to actually meet the needs of our nervous system states. We are also aiming to widen our window of tolerance, which just means, you know, many of us have these really narrow window of tolerance if we've been through a lot of stress or trauma and we find ourselves kind of living in stress states. It means our capacity to be regulated is smaller. Okay, so we're aiming to widen that window by introducing practices, which is going to increase your capacity and increase your resilience and increase the time you're in your ventral vagal state. And these practices aim to up and down regulate us. But when these trauma patterns, right, or kind of long-term dysregulation is stuck in the body, I need to say to you, we've got to go to the deeper roots and we need to use somatic processing tools, maybe parts work, whatever lands for you. So in this class, you are going to walk away with some really amazing gold nuggets. But if there's that deeper layers of dysregulation, we also are going to need to do that deeper work too. And this is what we do in the membership, right? All right. So these burgers, the buns. Now, this is where I lost it talking about this initially. I've got it together now. But really, with this burger, without the buns, the whole thing is just a salad. And you are one slippery pickle away from chaos. Every good burger starts with solid buns, right? So you're going to think of your buns as the foundation that holds your day together. Okay, your buns are like the bookends of this routine you're about to. Tamara says, are we doing squats? Yeah, maybe we should. Buns are life. Okay. So we're going to bookend our day, right? Start and finish the day and provide stability to this burger routine. Okay. So the buns are ideally non-negotiable. So we're going to make these, and yes, they can be gluten-free if anyone's stressing out, and this is making anyone feel we're not actually eating anything, so we're okay. These are going to be non-negotiable practices. So I really urge you, when you're building your burger, your buns need to be realistic. Okay, they need to be achievable and they need to be easy. So I'm going to get you to use your kind of interoception and intuition as we're going here, and I'm giving you examples of these burgers to build. If any part of you is like, I don't like that practice, or I ain't eating those buns. Like, I'm not going to do that in my day. Listen to that and use something that's more achievable and realistic. So, my recommendation for your buns is that the morning bun is something simple that sets you up for a day of embodiment, meeting your needs and determining the kind of fillings you need, the kind of burger you need, right? So that's going to be the purpose of the morning bun. The evening bun is something quick and easy and allows you a little bit of time to wind down and finish your day with compassion and care. I have to say this now, compassion is at the absolute heart of what we do in our membership as well. So I've given you some examples here. You might want to jot this down. I am going to send out the slides, but as you go, if you want to and you've got pen and paper in front of you, why not just start drawing a burger as well and kind of jotting down the things that you like, yes, I love this one, I'm going to do that. So a morning bun, here are some examples and samples for you. You could do a check-in practice like a body scan where you just scan your physical body, your mind, your emotional landscape. That's it, right? It's so simple. It takes literally 5 seconds or 10 seconds. So simple, but it's going to give you data as to the state of your nervous system. You could do something like setting a daily intention, right? A theme you want to carry throughout the day. You could do a somatic practice that is a non-negotiable start to your day instead. You don't have to do all of these are just individual buns. So that could be that you go, I need to do a vagal drill. Every time I wake up to start to retone, to start to activate my vagus nerve. Got to do it. Could be that you say, I have got to do a minute of breath work or 3, physiological sighs or something, because you've got breathing dysfunction. You know that your diaphragm is tight. You know that you're in a stress state. Your breath is going to be the quickest way to get into your parasympathetic. And it could be a practical habit, right? Like actually eating breakfast because your blood sugar's low and your cortisol is high and you need it and you cannot just run on a coffee. right? Or it could be really slowly moving, and that's it. A lot of us rush and race, and it is the quickest way to tell your nervous system that you are being chased is to move really quickly through your mornings. All right, and here's some evening buns, a check-in and review. Right, so you might use that scan again and review the day, what worked well, what you learned. You might do a gratitude practice, right? Something like listing some stuff in a journal or noticing glimmers. You might do a brain dump, whatever. You might do something for your nervous system. So this might be the point where you know, actually, I'm not going to do it in the morning because it's just so crazy for me. I'm going to do the breath in the morning or just a body scan, but in the night, I will do my vagal drill because I will sit on the edge of my bed and do it. That might be when you do your meditation. You know that the membership is full of great meditations and sleep meditations. It might be your non-negotiable to put one of those on. It might be that you do something somatic. My non-negotiable evening bun, and I do this sometimes in the week, other times I have a different bun, is a low stimulation shower, right? So I have the lights off in the bathroom, a dim light on outside the room, and the shower is so slow and mindful, and there's a total reduction of sensory overload. Okay, so any of those things, anything else you come up with too, all right, is going to be your bun. I just recommend that you do it really compassionately as well. Now, Tamara says, can I have more than one bun ingredient or just one? You can absolutely do more than one if you feel like it's doable and achievable for you. Remember that you can also use your fillings for extra practices, right? And Nikki says, so can I have different buns for each day? Absolutely. It's really fun to switch it up. And I'm going to show you soon some examples of different burgers. So we can use one burger when we've like got all the time in the world, one burger when we're racy, right? So we're going to have different burgers to meet them. And Mackenzie says, what's the difference? Oops, I've just lost it. Between nervous system and somatic in the evening bun. So the somatic could be more of like a prescribed practice that you do, something out of Soma and Soul, if you've got that course of mine, or if you're in the membership, right? It could be doing one of these practices here. And the nervous system I've really got is more of these real targeted drills, like vagal drills or breath work or things like that. All right, so those are our buns. Now we get into the fillings. So the fillings of your day, and I do have illustrated bun printouts and filling printouts, someone's just asked. So I'm going to send in an email these, and you could literally cut them out, right on the back of it, what it is you're going to do for your bun, and then build a little burger. So cute. So you can have it beside your bed or something like that, and you can take it away. Awesome. All right, so the fillings are going to be there to meet your nervous system needs with the right tools, okay? Right tools. So we're not just throwing stuff at us. We need to know what's the state of my nervous system that day, or what's the overall state that I'm working on. So you might already know, listen, I'm mostly in a freeze state. My burgers is going to be for freeze. Every day, freeze burger. It might be that you know you're more living in stress and that's what all your fillings are going to be. Or it might be that every day you wake up and you build it custom. So the idea of these fillings is about satisfying your cravings. So following your impulses and meeting the need. Your nervous system gives you the clues. You've got to meet the need. Alrighty. And just so you know, if anyone's a vegetarian, because I am, we'll just pretend if that's the case, that those are not meat patties. They are lentil patties or something. And someone's gotten hungry. So potentially you're all going to have to go have a snack after this workshop. Right. These are the types of fillings that we're going to have, right? Some of our fillings uplift, some calm, some ground, and some protect. Uplift, when you're in freeze or feeling blah, we actually need to upregulate and uplift the energy and uplift the nervous system. So the goal is introducing gentle energy and movement to help shift out of immobilization. So our uplift fillings are going to be great to use in a freeze state. We'll come to what the fillings are soon. For your calm fillings, when you're in a sympathetic state, So you're feeling overloaded or stressed, you might actually need to complete that stress response first. So moving straight to tools that try to calm you down can actually leave energy stuck. So we might complete it first, and then we might down regulate and soothe the nervous system. Okay, so this is going to be really good for like a fight response for our calm feelings. Then we might ground. Okay, so this is at times we need just balance and grounding and presence into the body, into safety, into the environment, reconnection, fighting, kind of reducing, sorry, never fighting, reducing that urge to escape or to flee. And that's going to be really good for your flight response. And then protect is great for fawn. So this is when we're people pleasing. We need to find our voice, connect with values, connect with needs, protect our own energy. Now, Lauren just asked, what's the fawn state? So that was that mixed state we talked about in the beginning, where it looks like in adults, people pleasing or please and appease. So always reading everyone else's energy and emotions and saying yes to everyone else, but no to us. And Angela asked, how do you complete a state? So I'm going to show you some tools in the next slides that actually work to complete the state first. But really what the thing I will keep bringing you back to is the impulse and intuition. So when you're anxious, the state says, I want to escape. I want to get out of here. I have huge movement away energy. So when we try to just calm ourselves and stay still, we often actually don't feel any calmer and we just have the energy coursing. So what we would do is move with it. And it might mean going for a walk or shaking or heel thuds or movement or swaying, right? Is jumping to music, kind of moving through the energy and then coming into down regulation. All right. I'm just going to show you, in case you don't believe it, what somatic tools have the power to do. So these are just things from members, from people that have done Soma and Soul, one of our somatic programs or any of our somatic classes. So you can see the kind of impact, right? The kind of power that this actually has. Because I was someone who needs to know the science and who loves intellectualizing, who loves making meaning, who loves living in my head. And so actually doing somatic practices initially, I was quite resistant to working with my body and doing parts work, like finding out the stuck parts of me, the wounded parts of me, and working with those. It felt a bit weird initially, but this is kind of the impact of this, right? Is these people having these big releases. So their sleep has changed. They can manage emotions. Sleep is a really big one. Okay, so you can have a little look at some of those to see how powerful it can be when we begin to work with our body. Right, another little thing to remember here is to make it edible and not overfill it. So good rule of thumb is just to pick a few things a few times in your day where you're going to use a tool that matches a state or use a tool preventatively as well, right? So that could be at these types of waking, lunch, before dinner. You have to find a time in your day where you're most likely to do it. And the reason for this is the science behind this, minimum effective dose. Okay, so a lot of people will think that they need to do hours of this a week. And what can happen is if you go in too hot and heavy and do too much and kind of push your nervous system in, you can do too much and it will actually stress you out. It will actually make you feel worse. So we look to find minimum effective dose. And this is something that we do in the membership, is finding the point where we're doing enough that we are having effects and that it's working, but we're not doing too much. Because the key is if we have trauma stuck in the body, the very nature of trauma is that it was too much, too soon, too fast, right? Or not enough for a long time. So we want to create the opposite conditions to heal. So we are not going too fast and doing too much, and we are not doing nothing. We are doing it gently. We are doing it full of compassion. Yeah, Stacey just said, oh, I do too much because I want to heal faster. It does not work. Absolutely. Right. Great realization and insight. So we are going to go through now those menus, those calm, uplift, protect menus, and you're going to pull your fillings out, and that's what you're going to build your bun with. And so you can be pulling from different states, right? It doesn't have to be all stuff from, the uplift menu. Okay, so what I want you to do is, because there's quite a lot of tools here, I want you to ask if you don't know what one is, or if you want to know the science behind a tool. Because sometimes our little intellectual minds just can't let it go, and we need to know, why am I doing that thing before we will actually commit to doing it. Now, the reason I'm going to get you to ask, so literally all you need to do is just jot the name of the tool in the chat and I'll explain it. Otherwise, it'll take too long to go through all of them. Okay. And the reason I'm saying for you to do that is because if you are a member, you know that you have all of these guided in the membership. So you'll either know what they are, or you know that you can go in, be guided through it in real time, or learn how to do it, right? So that's all there for you in there. But if you're not a member, you might be like, what the heck is that? Okay, so here's our uplift menu, right? So these are things that are so beautiful for dorsal vagal, for creating safety, for functional freeze, right? So to bring in some upregulation into the nervous system. Okay, so go ahead, put anything in there that you're like, what on earth is that? Into the chat. Okay, so VU. I'm excited because we're actually going to try VU out today. I'm going to teach you how to do it, and I'm going to teach you how to test if a tool works for your nervous system. Okay, we're going to do that really soon. A VU is a type of vocal activation and extended exhalation that is super powerful for pretty much all of our stress states. VU is deep in my toolkit and I use it often. Okay, so we're going to actually do that one really soon. Breath of Joy is guided in the membership in the breath program. I think you might even be a member. So that's in there and you can do it with me. But what we're basically doing in Breath of Joy is short, sharp inhalations. 1, 2, 3, and then one exhalation. Okay, so those short, sharp inhalations are going to help to upregulate energy in the nervous system. Just one thing. What is just one thing? Just one thing is when you are overwhelmed, when you're in freeze, you say to yourself, what is just one thing that I can do right now that is going to be helpful, that is going to gently upregulate me or make me feel safe? Because we often, especially if it's more of that functional freeze, we're trying to do too much. We're thinking of all the things we need to do, and your nervous system is going to feel so unsafe with that. You just need to pick one tiny thing, and that tiny thing could be as simple as brushing your teeth. If you haven't done that today, it could be as simple as standing outside on the grass for 10 seconds. It could be making yourself something to eat that's super easy, right? Seaweed sways. I love these so much. This brings in really gentle mobilization into the nervous system. It taps into our proprioceptive input and our vestibular system by beginning to gently sway the body like seaweed. And we start really small because your nervous system in freeze it got no energy. Right, and when you start really small, the movements can be so micro that you almost wouldn't even see it from the outside. But you're going to be gently mobilizing through the spine, through the neck, right? And so when we're working with our neck and our vertebrae and our spine, we're also trying to work with the alignment of our C1 and C2 vertebrae. These have to be in alignment in order to be in a ventral vagal state. There's some of the science behind it. And we're going to gently bring in that regulation, and it's probably going to start to turn into, oh, my body wants to move a little bit more, right? So we're creating safety in the movement and we're unthawing the freeze. The well done game, I love for anyone who is finding it hard to be compassionate with yourself. So you say, well done, Bex. Well done, Joanna. Well done, Suze. Well done, Kate. Well done, Glenda. I'm just looking at some of your names. After you do something. right? We're building what it feels like to give compassion and love into the body. So you literally could brush your teeth that day. Well done, Kate. Like, well done for doing that. You did that. That's it. It's so simple. It sounds silly, but when our brains are wired into a negativity bias or orienting to threat, when you're in these states, you are going to naturally pick up on all the things that you didn't do well, that you feel shame about, that you didn't get done that day. There's so much guilt. So the well done game, just pop it in there. Well done for making yourself a cup of tea, Bex. Right? Just see how it lands. In fact, do it right now for yourself. Well done for showing up to this webinar today. See what that feels like. See how your nervous system receives that little pat. Vagal drill. All right, so there are quite a few really incredible drills that directly switch on, activate the vagus nerve to come into parasympathetic. I'm going to teach you one today, and there's heaps of them in the membership called vagal drills that you can just be guided through. Okay, I think I have explained those. Micro movements. Okay, so micro movements is moving the body similar to seaweed sways in really small ways. So if I'm really in a freeze state, I'm going to start with just moving my fingers and my toes. I'm building awareness. I even have a body when I'm dissociated from it. And I'm building movement in a really gentle way. Okay. Containment hold is deeply soothing to the nervous system. It creates a feeling of being hugged. It creates proprioceptive input. So we're just tucking one arm under and one arm over. And we're literally going to spend 10, 20, 60 seconds here, breathing against that pressure of the arms and just seeing what happens. And you just take note of your nervous system afterwards. I will teach you how to test whether these things work. Orienting to glimmers. So in the trauma course, we go deeply into this a bit more, but orienting is what we mentioned before when we did that neuroception exercise. So orienting is what we pay attention to. And when we have trauma, we really naturally orient to threat. When we are someone who fawns, we naturally orient to the needs of others. Okay, when we're anxious, we orient to stuff going wrong in the body or stuff that could go wrong out here. So orienting to glimmers is finding something in your day, in your environment that feels either neutral, pleasant, or safe. And you purposefully orient to it. You pour your attention into it. Or if it's like it could be a plant that you've seen or a sound that you love, and you actually stop and pause and orient to it. And over time, what happens is you retrain your brain's neural pathways to actually look for those things. Facial muscle moving, okay? So our vagus nerve innervates our face, our ears, right? In through here. The back of our eyes is connected to these muscles that move the vertebrae in the back of our neck. It's connected in through the mouth and the jaw and the neck. So when we're in dorsal vagal, we actually lose this kind of ability to have these beautiful expressions in our face. We're often quite deadpan. When we're in ventral vagal, social connection, we are needing our facial muscles, right? We're smiling and we're engaged and we're making eye contact. So when we work with our facial muscles with these little drills, we can help directly activate that vagus nerve and our occipital nerves and our muscles there to bring us in to social connection. So it might be as simple as, can I move my jaw? Can I smile a couple of times? Can I move my eyes in some circles one way and then the other so that we're not fixed? It sounds so simple, but the science behind it is bringing us into that state. Okay. What if I think I've got everything. Yep, someone's answered questions for me. Okay, cool. So dissociation, someone said, what tools would you use for dissociation? So there is actually really special classes on dissociation in the membership. So I would take that if you're a member. But what you can do here is just find ways to orient into the present. Okay, so for the dissociation piece, it might mean orienting back to the body. So often I'll actually squeeze down my limbs and I'll say, this is me, this is my body. I'm here. You know, it's Sunday morning, it's cloudy out. I have a body. I can feel my fingers. I can feel my feet on the floor. I'm going to move my feet on the floor. Right? So all of these grounding kind of things that really bring you back into here. I might give myself, my brain, something that it needs to focus on. Okay. If you naturally do these things, can you use them too much? I don't think you can do these too much if they're natural. Your nervous system is trying to respond intuitively to what it needs. And if you're in functional freeze, why, oopsies, I've lost it. No, why do you address the dorsal vagal by upregulating? So we're going to do both for functional freeze, right? Like I'd like you to use tools that help with the more kind of sympathetic and also that help you with the upregulation and the safety of the dorsal vagal piece. But what a functional freeze often indicates to us is that we've actually been carrying too much too long. And the nervous system is starting to slip more and more into dorsal, right? It could be that there's trauma and stress stuck in the body. So it needs safety and then it needs slowly to upregulate. Okay, alrighty. I think I've covered everything. We're good. We're going to move to the calm menu. So these are amazing for anger, for a fight response. All of these practices are going to help. Now, a lot of these are helping with completing the stress response first. So moving with that anger, that irritation, that rage. Please ask if you don't know what any of these are, or if you need the science behind one and you're like, what on earth is that? Okay, so we're just kind of completing. And then some of these are then actually starting the down regulation process. So we're going to complete and we're going to down regulate. All right, so let me see. Oh, I think I've missed some here. Okay. Is chronic dorsal vagal the same as burnout? Yeah. If you're in burnout, you are probably bridging into or are into dorsal vagal state. How do you complete stress response at night when you're in bed? So it's hard to move and dance. Absolutely. So in bed, I love to use progressive muscle relaxation, which is really amazing, right? For showing your body the difference between the tension we carry in a stress state and between relaxation. It activates the muscles as they want and then it moves them. So there are guided versions of this. There's like actually a half an hour long one that you can listen to a membership as well, where it's guiding you through creating a safe place. So these are all the types of things that we can do at night. And someone's just mentioned visualization, which is another really useful thing to do. Your brain doesn't often know the difference between visualizing and something happening in real life, which is why we can think about a scary situation like having to do a presentation and feel rushes of nerves as if we are there, right? It doesn't know the difference. So you can imagine yourself punching a punching bag or dancing or shaking or running. Some people struggle with imagination, and then I would use those progressive muscle relaxation type things as well. Okay, I've got some screenshots here to look at from Joanna. I'm gonna probably say, oh, they have questions for later. I might come back to them at the end. Lion roar. Oh, okay, hang on, I've missed some. All right, so butterfly tap, someone has explained, right? So we're doing this. Vagal drills are in the membership and we're going to do one soon. Heel thud, someone's explained. So rising onto the toes, thudding down. What we're really wanting to do there, you can do them alternately as well as if you're running, is we're giving the body the sense of what it's like to complete that. And we're really feeling into the body. So with anything we do, any of these practices, we are not just going through the motions ever. Write that down to yourself if you need to. Do not just go through the motions. Do not use these as like a prescription. You are going to do them, and along the way, you are checking in with the impact of the nervous system. You are checking in. How does this feel? Is this dysregulating me more? If it is, this is not the tool that I need to be using right now. What is this doing in the body? The pillow scream and lion roar, really similar. Pillow scream is sort of an obvious one, right? But the lion roar, I kind of love for doing like a visualization practice around anger or people pleasing. And you can literally just do this and you don't have to make a sound. Just do this sort of thing and let your body create that sense of completion. Boundary need. Thank you, Francesca, has answered it. So it's about knowing a boundary has been crossed. So often with a sympathetic anger response, it's letting us know something has happened that isn't feeling safe. And sometimes that's a boundary being crossed. So you notice what the boundary is and what the need is behind that, right? Is this a boundary I have to set with this person? Have I done something that's self-abandoned? Do I need to speak my needs and use my voice here? All right. Earthing is just getting your feet out on the ground or maybe walking barefoot through a forest, on the sand, through the grass. Again, sounds so simple. The science is profound. It works. Brain dump is, I love setting a timer for this brain dump, 10 minutes tops, so we don't go into rumination. And you stream of conscious style, write out everything. And it doesn't need to be in full sentences. Jot out everything that comes out in your mind, even if this is dumb or something itchy, whatever, put it all down. And then what I love doing at the end of it is actually looking through it and seeing what happened there and what's in my control to change, making a plan with it. What can I let go of? Okay, all of that. What else have we got? Ear massage. Okay, so this is, thank you, Francesca, is guided in the membership. Your vagus nerve innervates through your ear. How cool is that? And there's a spot in your ear, kind of here where your ear pod would sit, like your earbud. And you grab your finger, try this now with me, and just begin to make some gentle circles here. Now, there's a full kind of massage and jaw involvement massage in the membership. And then what you can do is begin to pull the ear outwards and then up and to the side and down. We can run the fingers up the back, kind of sliding along the skin, right? And all of this is going to help activate the vagus nerve. Okay. Yeah, so Dave has said, do you have more details of the fillings and how to do them in the membership? So the membership has like these library sections that you go into. So say you're feeling anxious, say you're people pleasing, you click on that library. There's full courses and you scroll past them, and then there's minis and you scroll past them and you get to the somatic section, and you'll find either full hour-long classes that help you release these emotions, or you'll find micro practices, so real bite size, and most of these things are in there. And there's somatic libraries and they're very quick, and you do it with me and I guide you through how to do it. And that's really good for people who feel yes, Kelly just said I just burped after the ear one. Is that a release? Yes, we have all kinds of weird signs of release. So look out for your signs of parasympathetic activation and release. Yep, okay. So yes, so that's those bite-sized practices are perfect for those of us in overwhelm, is like jumping on and just being guided through something that's only going to take a few minutes. Right, I think I just answered everything. We shall. Okay, so I'm just going to answer this question. What happens when you are so frozen that it's hard to focus on the learning? Yes, I have experienced too much for too long and live in a stressful situation at the moment, which is unlikely to resolve for another month. Yeah. Do I focus on gentle practices for a while, or do I go to the trauma toolkit? Okay, the trauma toolkit will be amazing for you, amazing for anyone here going through trauma. And it doesn't matter if you're still kind of in that place of feeling quite overwhelmed, because it starts at step one. So step one is the regulation and safety. So you stay in that There's beautiful guided practices to set this up, containment practices, safety practices. It's all there. You stay in step one until you feel you've got the window of tolerance to cope with processing. And then step two is support. You can stay in that. Step three is processing. And that's when you go into those deeper emotional trauma processing practices. They're all guided, they're all there for you. And then step four is the integration, where there's guided videos on real time how to complete these stress responses. So I would say do that. And it's okay to stay in step one. Here's your ground menu. Okay, so just let me know if there's anything in there that you don't understand or you want the science for. I'm just going to check to see. I think I've got to the main stuff. Michelle was saying her releases through yawning. Okay, so sensory soothing. You're going to find in the membership a sensory soothing workshop that helps you determine what your dominant sense is. This is so cool. This is such cool information to know which of your senses you get overloaded by the most and which one you can use to calm yourself the most. Okay, so sensory soothing is using your senses to calm your nervous system. And some people, and there's an incredible poster list of ways to do that in there as well. And it's just really using, is it sight, is it sound, is it touch, is it taste, what calms me? And it's quite fascinating. Some of us are really calmed by taste. We find ourselves eating chips when we're stressed, right? So how do we know that that's it? And how do we use that in a different way that's more healthy? How do you release fight energy if you're at work or in a social setting? Francesca has said, go to the loo, brace yourself against the wall or a door until your legs shake. Yeah, that's a great one. Jump up and down. Yeah, perfect. So you can do those little things. In the membership as well, there is this one on bilateral stimulation that you can do like under the table, behind your back, little things that you can do that people aren't going to know about. So you're kind of just going to get yourself through in that moment and probably go and release it afterwards as well. Then you could press your feet into the floor. Yep, stomping, all of those things. Yes, yes, yes. Okay. All right. I think I have got everything there. Sensory smoothie. That was so perfect for the food theme. All right. No questions on that one. I think we're going to move on. So those are your grounding ones. And this is your protect. So these are really good for building up your embodied sense of connection to self for fawn response. This is also really good for engaging your vocalizations, and it's really good for establishing boundaries. So if fawn is really up there for you, I really encourage you to move some of these practices into your burger. Now, a conversation with a part, convo with part, one of them says, I'm going to teach you how to do this parts work more so in the membership. There is an incredible 2-hour workshop in the membership from an expert on how to do this parts work. But to break it down just really briefly here, there is a part of you, right, that is a protective part of you that feels in order to keep you safe, you're going to need to put aside your own needs and prioritize someone else's. And you're going to have a conversation in these moments with this part of you. You're going to ask it, okay, what's going on here? You know, what's activated this? What am I afraid of in this moment? What do I need in this moment? What am I scared will happen if I don't fawn in this moment? If I put my needs first? Okay, what could happen? That would be amazing. We are actually going to have conversations, and you're going to learn how to do this in the membership as a bonus for people who join. Everyone gets to go into this class where we're going to learn how to work with stuck parts of ourselves, and we'll do that some more in there. Lower your voice. Hannah asks, what is lower voice? So in a fawn response, and in any of these responses, what you can do is check in with the tone of your voice. And so often we'll find that either it gets fast and high and we're not breathing correctly, or the tone changes and something happens. So if we can kind of check in with our vocal tone and even lower it down, bring it down to a deeper level, let it slow down, right? We're going to come into activating that beautiful vagus nerve through here. Um, there's heaps of, okay, hurt feelings. There is an insanely cool practice to release hurt feelings called Let It Go in the membership, audio somatic practice. And I don't know if there's a member here who's done it, if anyone is, but it is really powerful to move you in and out of processing something through moving into it, into the hurt feelings, moving out of it. And at the end of this practice, it is amazing how much we can release. Support crew is a fully guided practice as well in the membership in the trauma toolbox. And really, what you're going to do is to be guided through this meditation. You can do this for yourself after this, where you create a support crew. You create a wise person and a brave person and a loving person. And they could be also animals or just figures. You don't have to know them. You have them in your mind. And then in these moments of fawning, you stop and turn from one of your support people. What would this person tell me? What would my most bravest, strongest, wisest self say in these moments? Francesca has answered Lauren, who asked what are boundary taps. So that's tapping the edges of your body to reconnect with where you are in space and time. Right, so we're literally doing this, and I do this after, if I've been fawning, I will literally, okay, do this and go, this is my body, right? This is my space. I'm responsible for my energy. These are my feelings. This other stuff is not. This is not mine. This is not my responsibility. Like return to sender. Okay. Mia or Maya, I'm not sure which way you pronounce it, says, yes, the let it go practice is amazing. Some people do have difficulty with safe place or like with visualization, as you say. So you can do these in other ways that don't need to be visualized, right? We just create safety through these other practices that don't require us to use visualizations. And havening. Nancy has said havening is good too. So havening is, kind of using these strokes that really regulate the nervous system. We actually can combine this with eye movements. So you'll find in the membership we use eye movements as well, kind of pulled from EMDR for trauma processing. All right, my love. So I'm going to send this to you so you can print these. If you are just overwhelmed about creating a burger, then you can use these, try them out, and see which works. See what you like. Okay, so sometimes we need a sloppy Joe. I think that's an American thing, but we started making them in my house and my daughter loves them. So a sloppy Joe is the days where you've just got no energy. Okay, so it's a really realistic, compassionate routine, honors the freeze response while meeting your needs, and she is sloppy. Like there's not a lot going on in that day. You're not really there for showing up for all the big things, right? So there's an example of it. There's your sloppy Joe, as simple as you can possibly make it. And you could make it even sloppier if you want. Your sloppy Joe might just be that you do the buns one day. That's fine too. Some days we're in flow and we feel really good and we really want to like kind of really love on our nervous systems, or some days we are really like lacking. We're really dysregulated and we know we need lots of nourishment and we've got time and we can do a gourmet burger on those days, right? That's when you need a lot of regulation or self-care or you've just got the time. And then we sometimes have a takeout burger, and that's for those days where you're on the go. You're not in the house and you're out of your routine. And it's really realistic for you to use when you're on the move. So a lot of us need tools we can use when we're at work, when people might be able to see us, right? And we need tools that we can slot in. I'm not going to go through all of those burgers because I'm going to send this out. I don't want to take up too much more time. But we're going to do now a little guided tasting, a quick guided tasting of some of these practices so you can experience a couple of them. So what we're going to do first before I take you through this, I'm going to take a couple of minutes, is test. Right, we're going to test our nervous system, test our current range. Right, so pause in this moment. I want you to see what your breathing's doing. I just want to notice whether your breathing is high up or shallow up into the chest, We're going to do VU in a moment. I want you to check your diaphragm. Is there any tightness in your diaphragm, in your belly? Are you gripping? And just check in with the kind of river of mind here. Are your thoughts racing? Are you feeling a bit overwhelmed? Or are you feeling a little on the spacey side now? Just checking in. All of these are just clues from our nervous system. And then we're going to test a little here our range of motion, and then we're going to go through this drill. Now I'm going to give you 2 ways to test your range of motion. There are more. Okay, but the first one is if you don't have any neck issues, you're going to look over to your left and just see to the point where your neck goes, that's as far as I need to go. Feeling a little stuck there. Maybe take note of what you can see. And then you're going to tilt it down slightly. So your right ear tilts towards your left collarbone and just see how far the neck wants to move before it kind of gets a little stuck. You're going to bring it back through center. And you're going to look over your right shoulder and you want to see how far the neck goes this way. And we're going to tilt left ear down towards the collarbones. I'm simply going to check in. As you're ready, come back, see where you get to. If you've got neck issues or you just want to do another test, what we can do is we can just check our shoulder range here. We're going to just bring our arm up. We're going to keep the shoulder blade down the back. So we're not going to move the whole arm forward like this. We're going to keep our arm up and we're going to slowly rotate from the shoulder there, bringing the hand down and just see what angle. Whoa, we're tight here for me. Where does that get to? How far down can I bring that? And then you can test it on the other side if you want. It might be different on these different side to side. It's really normal. Okay, and now we're going to go through this routine. Okay, so if you feel comfortable, I invite you to close your eyes just for a moment here. Okay, and just begin to notice any of the sounds you can hear around you. They might be close by or they might be further away. Maybe you can hear your breathing. And then opening your eyes and taking a look around the room, can you orient to one little thing that makes you feel safe? Something that feels pleasant or neutral to look at in the room. Why don't you take a couple of deep breaths here with that? And now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a little polyvagal drill, right? This is one that's going to have that direct access to our vagus nerve. So sitting up nice and straight through the spine, we're going to tip our left ear across to our left shoulder. And we're going to take our gaze up into the right. Now, I don't want you to strain your eyes here. If this makes you feel at all dizzy or strained, please just bring them back. Just go as far as is comfortable. Can you deepen your breath? Let go of any gripping through the belly. And maybe you begin to notice here some signs of parasympathetic activation, some signs of release. And that would be something like a deep, spontaneous swallow, feeling more saliva in your mouth, a yawn, a sigh, a tummy gurgle. As you feel ready, we're going to bring ourselves back through center. We're going to take it over to the other side. So right ear toward right shoulder, and the gaze of the eyes comes up into the left. Now, as we do this, we're working with that vagus nerve. We're working with our neck. We're working with the occipital muscles of the eyes, and we're bringing those vertebrae in the back of our neck, C1 and C2, into alignment. And this is why we may notice those signs of release and parasympathetic, because when we're in our ventral vagal, we're digesting. So there's that saliva, there's the tummy gurgles. We're also resting, so the sighs and the yawns. And you only need to spend 30 seconds to 60 seconds on each side. As you feel ready, you come back through center and you've done a vagal drill. We're going to take a VU breath together now. So Hopefully you don't startle any children or pets. I can see some of you yawning away in the in the camera as I'm looking. So this VU breath is really beautiful for activating through our vocal cords. Vagus nerve runs through there, helps us get into our voice, helps us feel a deep resonance through into the belly. So really notice how you feel this in your body. And we're going to inhale through our noses, and as we exhale, we're going to say VU. We're going to make that VU sound together, deep and for the length of the exhale. Sometimes on this, my laptop doesn't record me saying it because it drowns out noises. So if you can't hear me, don't worry, but just carry on. Do this with me. Let's take one together. So inhaling through the nose, exhaling. Take a moment in the silence. Feel into the echoes in your body and your nervous system. Well done. I want you to place your hands on your belly now and take 3 belly breaths, pressing your hands. And then we are going to actually just test now how we're going. So we're going to retest. So taking your gaze to look over to your left, just want you to see how far your neck goes. Mine's going further around. You might notice yours is, you might notice it isn't. You can tip it over, see what the range is. And then you can test the other side. So looking over to the right, might be different, might be more range, might be the same. Tipping the ear. Or then, of course, you can do this arm. So just testing here again. Have I unlocked more range of motion? Goosebumps are a beautiful sign of that kind of activation. Goosebumps also just seem to happen when we make that VU sound, especially if we do it with other people. So go ahead in the chat and just let me know, how did your nervous system respond? Did it have a positive response? So, which means my range increased. That could also mean you just notice in your body, there's like a deeper sense of calm or presence. So was there an increase? Was it the same? Or did it decrease? Like, did something in that not connect with you? Right. So I'm seeing definite range increase, calming, more in my body. Francesca needs to go to bed now. My arm range increased by about 40%. Wow. I have a sore neck, but actually my range increased. So much yawning increases, looser, flowing better, increased, calmer, better, lovely, grounded, VU. I was in my body and calmer, beautiful. This took us what, maybe 2 minutes, and I don't usually cram them all together back to back like that. Sometimes I do if I just feel like I really need a really good reset. So if you come up with like neutrals, you might need more input. If you come up with like this is a no, then that's fine too. They're just not for you. Okay. Beautiful, beautiful. All right, we're going to keep on moving because we're just going to start to come to the end, and I'm pulling out an annual membership winner in a minute. I just want to briefly go over the secret sources for our burgers, okay? The first secret sauce is matching your practice to your state, okay? So it's just as simple as tuning into your nervous system, getting a sense of the clues it's giving you, and then picking a tool that you know is going to actually match it. The next secret sauce is completing the response. We've got to stop thwarting our body's natural impulses, right? It knows what it wants to do a lot of the time, and so we need to let it complete that. We also need to allow for homeostasis. So the goal is not to always be calm. I really want you to take this away with you today. A lot of your nervous system's responses to things are absolutely like acceptable. They make sense. They are appropriate to the situation that you're in sometimes, right? And so If I am about to do a big presentation, my goal is not to feel calm beforehand. I'm going to feel a little anxious. I'm going to feel that activation. I'm going to use that. That's really normal, right? What we don't want though is to get stuck in these stress states. And that's when we really want to do this deeper work. The way you talk to yourself matters. So if you're saying, I have to fix this state. I have to use a tool. I have to stop this. I'm so sick of this. I hate this. I'm broken. I'm always, all of that is actually going to switch on a threat response in our nervous system. If we approach these tools with the goal of this tool better stop this feeling and stop this state and fix it, and then you check in, you're like, oh, there's still anxiety there, this doesn't work. All of that is activating stress responses and it's going to keep you in it. Impulses and intuition is so important, right? So we can use these prescribed practices. Brilliant, brilliant. But we also want to tune in, what is my nervous system actually telling me in this moment? And we're going to practice in the calm to access in the chaos. So if we have not practiced any of this stuff, if we haven't practiced our cognitive way that we talk to ourselves and think about things, we haven't practiced these drills, and then we have a panic attack and we try to use something, or then we're like deep and freeze and we try. The nervous system's like, what are you doing? I have no idea what this is. So we are going to want to practice them while we're calm as well. Okie dokie. I'm just going to call this into action. And this is something I don't usually do so strongly, but you know what? Some people are going to hear this information from today and they're going to go into overwhelm, right? And if this is you, I need you to hear this. There's a part of you now that is jumping in and feeling protective. It fears that this healing work is too much. It's too hard. It's saying, "Yeah, we don't have the time for this though. I'm going to do this next year, next week. I'm already so busy I can't fit this in." So these parts of us that get in the way and stop us from using these tools are scared. They're protective. They're scared of what change might look like. They're scared of what's going to happen when we start to try to get in and unpeel and uncover these layers and do this healing. Okay, and if this is you, I want you right now, if you're stuck or resisting or whatever it is, I want you to put a hand on your heart and just offer compassion and understanding to this part of you. Okay, this is normal. This is normal. This is a protective part. It's trying to keep you safe. But this part of you is going to keep you stuck in these old narratives and stuck in the threat states. And if this is a significant kind of stuckness that keeps showing up in your life, it's a sign that we're lacking that safety and processing around old wounds. Okay, I want you to tell this part of you, its fears are heard, but we know that this is going to keep us stuck and limited, and our trauma and our nervous systems love familiarity, even when it's painful. So if you are ready for your life to be different, this is where I really want you to take the driver's seat. You logically know if you set aside time for yourself and you do some of this healing work, you will create more space in your life, not less. There will be less rushing. You will sleep better. You will feel more present. You will feel more connected in your relationships. Okay. And for all of our beautiful members, okay, anyone thinking about joining us, we are going into a week where I am giving you my all for 7 days. I give it all anyway, but extra of personalized support. Okay, so we've got a coaching call coming up and then another coaching call. We're going to work on these parts of ourself that feel stuck, resistant, and protective. So we're going to start to unlock our essential selves. Okay, I really want you to know that I am going to be here for you, hot and heavy and ready with the secret sauce for 7 days. So you're going to be able to message me, put stuff in the hub. I am going to be there to personalize your plan and the membership and to answer your questions. We're going to draw the winner now. So the membership, inside of it has $1,700 worth of life-changing courses. They We have some members here that are saying it's the best investment in my healing journey. God bless you, Stacey. Thank you. Um, this membership is for real. It's complementary to the work I do in therapy. These tools, learning, Bex have helped me so. Oh, thank you, Tamara. That's so beautiful. Okay. Francesca says I highly recommend for practitioners as well, for personal support and for professional development. Yay, yay, yay. This membership is the best thing I've ever done for myself. Bex is my angel. You're my angel, Joy. Our membership does have this stuff, right? It's got the courses. We have a live release class every month. We get into the somatics. There's amazing libraries, right? There's master classes every month. We bring in guest experts from around the world who we would not otherwise be able to access. We bring in coaching, we bring in yoga classes, but the best part is that, as Francesca just said, we are a freakishly nice bunch. Like, these are good people. They are people on this journey. We are doing this together. I have done this work. I continue to do this work on myself. You are not alone. You are not broken. I want you to come and join us and get these tools. Okay, so we're about to just draw the membership winner. So I'm just putting this in here so I can draw them out. Okay, get ready. Oh, and by the way, I'm just drawing a name. So if I draw your name, there might, and you're already a member, but you're on a monthly, then you've got the annual as the win. Or if you've already got that, please tell me and I'll just draw out another, I'll draw out another winner, but I'll give you something as well so you don't feel totally left out. Okay, right, here we go. All right, my loves, we are going through. And our winner is Nikki Harold. Nikki Harold, just pop a little thing in the chat so I know you have heard me and that you have got yourself an annual membership and tell me if, yes, that's you, Nikki Harold. Thank you. Question mark. I'm crying. Oh, you're so welcome, honey. So, Nikki Harold, can you please send me a message on Instagram after this and I'm going to set you up. You're going to have an annual plan, $500. You'll be in and you'll get all of this for free. Enjoy, my love. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, congratulations. So cool. All right, so just a reminder that this is what's happening after today. So the first 10 people, once I hit end on this call, will get a custom routine built for you. The first 10 people on the annual plan, we will Voxer back and forward. We will debrief. I will build you a custom. Everyone gets a discount. Everyone gets the goodie bag. One person's getting an aura ring. Boop, boop. One person's getting a Voxer day with me. And we're going into those bonus days of support. Now, I want to be here to see whether there's any questions before we wrap up and before we go. Oh no, Francesca's answered, just if the live sessions are recorded, they are. I try to make them work for as many time zones as possible. Okay, so I will send an email out after this for where do you sign up for membership. I'm just going to pop in the chat the link for those who are asking for it right now. The membership is $49 a month, by the way, New Zealand, which is about 28, 29 US dollars. So it is like as cheap as a burger. It's as cheap as like a gourmet burger with a drink from the pub. So it's bloody good. It's bloody good value. Right. And you can cancel anytime, my loves, as well. Okay, question for later. Yeah, how do you get the benefits of meditation when ADHD makes it uncomfortable to sit still? I would just do different types of meditation, or I would do something that regulates you first. So what you can do first is sort of like a brain dump and a bit of a shake and then a meditation. Or I would do a different type of meditation that's moving. So maybe meditation doesn't serve you, but somatic practices do. So something like a release class from our membership might be beautiful because you're moving, right? And you're kind of working with that regulation. Are there foolproof ways to know properly which state you're in? So you can build your burger for that day. Sometimes when I'm overwhelmed, I find it hard to know what I need in the moment. Do you know what you could do just to make it really, really simple? Is you could just make yourself an overwhelm burger, right? That just has stuff that work for all the states. Because a lot of these tools do work across the states. So it might be you do some breath work. It might be you do a vagal drill. It might be you do a brain dump as well with that overwhelm. And that's going to pretty much hit all the states. And then you're going to test as well. You can test your ranges, you can test your body to see. Is OCD associated with nervous system dysregulation? So yes, yeah, yeah. So OCD, we don't have a course on OCD, but the ones that I recommend for OCD are our intrusive thoughts course and our health anxiety course, which is the approach a lot of people take with OCD in terms of how do we meet those thoughts, and then you can use your nervous system regulation. Michelle asks, how do we move from the monthly to the annual? So it is a good move if you want to hang out for longer. You know you're going to be in here for over a few months, which I think everyone would benefit from. It's way cheaper and you get $50 off. So to move, you just go in, you cancel your monthly, you sign up for your annual, and if there's been like an overlap in payment, you can message me too. But what you can do is just cancel your monthly and then wait to sign up for the annual right before your monthly expires. Thank you, Steph. I'm so glad you think it's a good membership. Right. Can you do weekly payments for the memberships? No, sadly, there's not a weekly payment option, which is a little bit niggly, just the monthly at this stage. Um, will the classes be at this time? They are often at this time. Sometimes they're a little different and they're always recorded and added to the library. So when you do join, you get the library of past release classes and master classes and everything. So you instantly get all of that value. You don't miss out and kind of not get the past stuff. Okay. All right, I think I've answered most of those. Okay, yep. So someone said I see or Ebby said I see 650 and 500 for the annuals. Okay, so there's two tiers to the membership. One's the 500 for the year or 49 for the month. One's 69 for the month or 650 for the year. The 650 or the 69, the tier two, the plus membership. That includes the coaching calls with me, the group coaching, and the yoga classes. So that's the difference. So the first tier, no group coaching, no yoga, everything else. Second tier, everything. Great, you're going to join annual when you can. Beautiful, beautiful. Great. Okay. Any tips for creating enough safety that your nervous system allows for the releases or regulation to happen? Yeah. I try to suppress my yawn. Yep. All my thoughts go to other things distract my nerve. Okay. So really strong protective part, in the mixer, Kelly, that is kind of coming in and saying, I don't necessarily feel safe to have the full expression of my nervous system's safety in this. So what we do is titration in this practice. So you might be doing the practices for smaller amounts of time, or you might be pendulating. So doing a bit of the practice, then coming out, letting yourself be distracted, doing a little bit more. So we're allowing your nervous system just little bites of it, just little tasters, and maybe something like the trauma course would be beautiful to start creating that sense of safety. You can join right now. Someone just said, can I join right now and get the goodie bag, or do I need to wait? You can join now. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Anyone knows what it is in pounds? It's about half, someone said. So it's about 25 pounds at the moment. 49 is 22 pounds 50. There we go. Cool. All right. That sounds like it works out quite well. Conversion's pretty good from New Zealand into other countries right now. Like it's a very good price. How many people are in the group coaching call? As Francesca, it's usually 12 to 20. I think sometimes we've had up to 30 of us in a call. We work through questions that are emailed in. If someone doesn't want to speak it into the container, that's fine. And we usually get through sort of between 5 and 7 people bring something up and we workshop it together. The whole group massively benefits from all of it. They're stunning. They're such gorgeous calls. Okay, I think, have I got to everything? Can you access all the courses with the monthly payments? You can access all of them, which is why it is so good because the trauma course, for example, on its own is $200. It's free in the membership. All right, all of the courses, the $1,700 of courses in there. So you can access every single one of them and lots of bonus challenges. And you can access me in the hub. So if you don't join the one with the coaching calls, you still access me in the hub. Um, Uh, um, okay. Oh, I can't see something, sorry. Oh, that's lovely. Someone's just messaging. It's been a hard day and sending appreciation. Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so glad you're here. Okay, the discounts to use when purchasing, the codes are on the join the membership page, so you'll find them there. It's Thrive to join the monthly. You'll get $10 off both of the plans, $49 or $69 plans. Use the code Thrive. That's your first payment. Or use the code GLOW and you'll get 50 off the annual memberships. All right, my loves. I have taken a lot of your time. I thank you for being here with me, for showing up for you. You're amazing. And I cannot wait to welcome some of you into the membership and to get to know you and to get into this epic week together. All right, sending you all so, so much love. Thank you for being here. Build those burgers. Let me know how you get on. I want to hear from you as well about your experience of it, what you thought about today. DM me on Instagram. I'm hanging out with you. I'm here for you. We are in this together. And here's to your healing. I can't wait for this. All right. Lots of love to you all.